Hey, we got the White House going on the attack against the media, blaming the media for Biden's bad polls. That's what we're hearing from D.C. media. This is what the pressure campaign is. We've got wholesale producer prices coming in hotter than expected across the board, nearly a double-digit read. This is a big jump from below 2% at the beginning of the year. Remember, this is upstream pricing. When it goes downstream, it really gets entrenched. Joining us now, from Senate Banking and Housing and Urban Affairs, he's Senator Bill Hagerty. You know, pandemics are usually deflationary. Critics say the Biden team, they're on track to match Jimmy Carter's record for economic pain. How did we get here?
Well, I think it's these reckless policies that the Biden administration has induced from the very beginning, Liz. They've waged war on the oil and gas industry here in America. It's no surprise that gas is up more than 50% at the pump. And for every industry that uses oil and gas as a feedstock, the cost of production has gone up, and every good has to be transported in America. Again, inherently inflationary. If you look at what's happened across the board, their policy is throwing more and more money into the system while they're basically subsidizing unemployment and creating policies that keep people out of the workforce.
Yeah.
Again, it's dampening supply. At the same time, they're just stimulating demand like crazy.
You know, last week's nearly 40-year high in CPI, it's 6.8%. 2 percentage points of that, to that headline number, came from Biden's war on oil. Those were oil and energy prices spiking higher. Senator, that's the biggest jump since Hurricane Katrina in 2005 wiped out oil facilities. Yeah. I'm not sure people in Washington understand that, right? So we have a new Trafalgar poll. 56% don't believe the president's concerned about inflation. Economist YouGov, this is before last week's nearly 40-year high read in CPI. More than half of Americans say the economy is getting worse. Are they waking up down there in D.C. to how bad it is, and what are they going to do? They're still saying full steam ahead on spending. That'll cure inflation.
Well, I think this is exactly why Americans believe that Biden doesn't care about inflation. He's just stayed on the same talking point. He's even claimed that if you pass this, what is now close to a $5 trillion package, when you look at the real numbers coming out of CBO, that's going to somehow cure inflation? No, it's going to stimulate it even further. The American public know this, and Biden's just trying to deny reality and stick to some talking points that actually are the opposite of what the truth actually is.
You know, the voters now expect inflation to rise at double the rate of their wage gains. And we know that Bank of America is saying consumers are spending at a faster rate than he's ever seen, but it's really the people feeling it on fixed incomes, on their pensions, senior citizens on pensions, and those seeing their wage gains wipe out. Getting wiped out by inflation. Watch the White House going on the attack, doubling down, calling a CBO report fake news after it found Democrat spending would add trillions of dollars more to the debt over the next decade if the programs were made permanent. Remember, the White House falsely claimed their spending would cost zero. Remember that as you watch this.
So the president says that the Build Back Better is not going to add a penny to the deficit. The CBO has this new score where they assume that social programs are going to be made permanent, and in that case it would add almost $3 trillion. So does that mean that President Biden will commit that these programs are not going to be made permanent?
Well, first of all, what you're talking about here is a fake CBO score that is not based on the actual bill that anybody is voting on. This was a request by Senator Graham to score a bill that is not currently being debated. But it's important to understand that when anybody raises a question about this new CBO score, it is a fake score about a bill that doesn't exist.
Okay, another fastball being whipped by the American people. 15 or 17 of those programs, the majority of them likely will become permanent because that's what's been going on since the 50s in D.C. You float an entitlement, it becomes cemented in stone. Your reaction?
Absolutely. It was Milton Friedman that said there's nothing more permanent than a temporary federal program, Liz. That's exactly what's going on here. And what the press secretary is saying is the exact opposite of the truth, yet again. The budget gimmicks that they put in this bill to get the number down below $2 trillion were just taken out. That's what Lindsey Graham asked to be done when he asked them to be scored along the same lines, the same length of time that the pay-fors were scored. When he does that, you get a $3 trillion addition to our national debt. That's 10% of the current debt. That's way too high. This is a ridiculous argument that the White House is making, very rich. But we see what's happening here, too. There's a psychological component that Brian Moynihan underscored, the president of Bank of America, when he said he hasn't seen consumers spend at this pace. The reason they're spending at this pace is precisely because they think that something's going to be more expensive tomorrow than it is today. There's a psychological component of this that becomes self-fulfilling as people begin to accelerate their spending to try to beat the inflation that's coming. Again, that begets inflation. That's what Biden has set off here, is a psychological impact on the American public that's very real.
Senator Bill Hagerty, it's terrific having you on. Come back soon.